Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Calm English Corner. I'm Emma. I'm so happy you're here with us today.
And I'm Mike. Thanks so much for pressing play and spending a little time with us.
Yes, truly, thank you. Every time you join us, it reminds us that we're all learning and growing together.
Today's topic is something very human, something we all do, often without realizing it, comparing ourselves to others.
Oh, that one hits home. I think I do it almost every day.
You're definitely not alone, Emma. We all do it. Maybe we scroll through social media and see someone with a perfect job, perfect home, perfect smile, and suddenly we feel like we're behind.
Exactly. It's like one moment I feel okay about my life, and then I see someone doing better, and everything changes.
Yes, comparison is sneaky that way. It doesn't just make us wish for more, it makes us forget what we already have.
That's so true. But Mike, why do you think we compare ourselves so much? I mean, we know it doesn't help, but we still do it.
Good question. I think comparison starts because we want to know where we belong. Humans are naturally social. We look at others to measure ourselves. But the problem is, we're not comparing equal things. We often see only the best parts of other people's lives, not the whole story.
Yeah, like seeing someone's highlight reel, not their behind the scenes.
Exactly. We see the finished picture, but not the struggles, doubts, or sleepless nights behind it. So when we compare our real life to someone's edited version, we'll always feel less.
That makes sense. But sometimes I think comparison can motivate us too. Like when I see someone doing great, I feel like I want to improve myself. Is that always bad?
Not always. It depends on the feeling it creates. If it inspires you gently, like, I can learn from that person, that's healthy. But if it makes you feel small or not enough, that's when it becomes harmful.
I guess I often feel the second one. It's like no matter what I do, someone is always ahead of me.
I've felt that too, many times. But here's something that helped me. The idea that life is not a race. It's more like a journey, and everyone walks their own path. When we keep turning our heads to see who's faster, we miss the beauty of our own road.
That's a beautiful image. Sometimes I forget that my path is mine alone.
Exactly. And the moment we stop comparing, we start living more fully, more peacefully.
So today's conversation is really about learning how to do that, right? How to stop comparing and start appreciating where we are.
Yes, that's right. We'll talk about why everyone's journey is different, what comparison costs us, and how focusing on our own growth brings us more peace.
I'm excited for this one. I really need it.
You and many of us, Emma. So let's take a deep breath and begin exploring what it means to let go of comparison and choose self-acceptance instead. You know, Emma, one thing I've learned is that life doesn't move in a straight line. We all have different speeds, different seasons, and different lessons to learn along the way.
Yeah, but sometimes it's hard not to feel like you're behind, especially when people your age already seem to have it all together. Good job, house, maybe even a family.
I understand that feeling so well. I used to think I was late in life too. I'd look around and see friends achieving things faster, promotions, relationships, success, and I'd ask myself, why am I not there yet?
Exactly, that's me. Sometimes I feel like I'm running a race that I didn't even sign up for.
That's a perfect way to say it. But here's something I realized. We're not all running the same race. Some people are climbing mountains, some are walking through forests, and some are still finding their path.
That's a beautiful image. But what helped you stop comparing?
It started when I met an old friend after many years. Back in school, she was always ahead. Top grades, amazing social life, great confidence. When we met again, she told me she'd spent years struggling with anxiety and burnout. She said, "Mike, I wish I'd slowed down." That really opened my eyes.
Wow. So even someone who looks like they have it all can be struggling quietly.
Yes, everyone's carrying something we can't see. Some people look like they're flying, but maybe they're just tired of pretending.
That's true. I guess we only see the outside, not the story behind it.
Exactly. And that's why comparison doesn't make sense. We might be comparing our beginning to someone else's middle, or our real life to someone's perfect picture.
That's powerful. But I wonder, how can we remind ourselves of that when comparison thoughts just appear in our heads?
Good question. I think it starts with awareness. When you catch yourself comparing, just pause and notice it. Don't judge yourself. Just say, "Oh, I'm comparing again. That's okay, but this is my journey, not theirs."
So instead of fighting the thought, we just notice it gently.
Yes, and then bring yourself back. Ask, "What am I grateful for in my life right now?" That simple question can shift everything.
That's beautiful. I guess when we stop comparing, we make space for something else, like gratitude or peace.
Exactly. When you stop measuring your journey against others, you start feeling your own journey. You begin to notice your small wins, your progress, your growth.
And maybe that's the real goal, not being the best, but being better than we were yesterday.
Yes, Emma. Growth doesn't have to be fast. It just has to be real.
That's so comforting. I think I'll try to remind myself every day, I'm not late, I'm just on my own timeline.
That's perfect, because you are. And so is everyone listening right now. Your story is unfolding exactly the way it's meant to.
You know, Mike, when you said comparison steals our peace, it really stuck with me. It made me wonder, what does comparison actually cost us?
That's such a thoughtful question, Emma. I think comparison costs us more than we realize. Our confidence, our joy, our focus. It takes the energy we could use to grow and turns it into self-doubt.
Yeah, I feel that. When I start comparing, I suddenly lose motivation. I start thinking, what's the point? I'll never be as good as them.
I've felt that too. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, when I first started teaching English online, I followed other teachers who seemed so successful. They had more students, better equipment, beautiful backgrounds. Every time I saw their posts, I felt smaller.
Really? I wouldn't have guessed that. You always sound so confident.
I wasn't at all. I used to spend hours looking at what they were doing instead of improving my own lessons. One day I realized I hadn't created anything for myself in weeks. I was so focused on them that I forgot why I started.
Wow, that's powerful. It's like comparison slowly takes over your focus without you noticing.
Exactly. It's like a quiet thief. It doesn't break the door, it just sneaks in and steals your joy, one small thought at a time.
That's so true. For me, it happens with language learning. I see people speaking perfect English and I think, why can't I sound like that? Then I lose confidence to even try.
That's such a common feeling. But here's something I want you and everyone listening to remember. You can admire someone's skills without comparing yourself. You can let their success inspire you, not define you.
That's a good point. But sometimes admiration quietly turns into jealousy, doesn't it?
It can, yes, but jealousy often hides sadness. The sadness of not believing we're enough. When we feel secure in who we are, we can celebrate others genuinely.
So the real problem isn't the other person, it's how we see ourselves.
Exactly. Comparison is just a mirror reflecting our own doubts. When we heal those doubts, the mirror loses its power.
That's deep. So the more we know and accept ourselves, the less we compare.
Yes, and self-acceptance doesn't mean thinking we're perfect. It means being kind to ourselves, even when we're not.
That's something I need to practice. Sometimes I expect too much from myself, like I should already be fluent or successful or confident.
I know that feeling. But remember, growth doesn't mean rushing. Real growth feels peaceful, not pressured.
Peaceful growth. I like that.
Me too. And after I stopped comparing myself to other teachers, I started enjoying my work again. My lessons became more personal, more creative, and ironically, that's when I actually became better.
That's amazing. So by focusing on yourself, you found your own voice.
Exactly. And that's what comparison takes away from us. Our voice, our joy, our uniqueness.
Yeah, it's like trying to be someone else makes us forget who we are.
Wonderfully said, Emma. When we stop comparing, we start reconnecting with ourselves, with our values, and with what truly matters.
That's so true. I guess the hidden cost of comparison is losing our peace of mind and our own story.
Yes, and that's a price none of us need to pay.
You know, Mike, after hearing your story, I've been thinking, maybe the best way to stop comparing is to focus more on our own growth.
Yes, exactly. When you turn your attention inward to your own journey, your own progress, comparison starts to fade. It's like watering your own garden instead of looking at your neighbor's.
I like that image, watering my own garden. But sometimes it's hard to see our progress, right? Especially when the changes are small or slow.
That's true. Growth is often invisible at first. It's like planting a seed. For a while, you see nothing happening, but something is growing under the surface.
I like that. So maybe it's not about seeing results every day, but trusting that we're still moving forward.
Exactly. Progress is not about speed. It's about direction. Even one small step toward your goals matters.
That reminds me, when I first started learning English, I used to record myself speaking once a week. At first, I hated listening to my voice, a little laugh. But after a few months, I realized I was improving, little by little.
Wonderfully said, Emma. You weren't comparing your voice to anyone else's. You were comparing your voice today with your voice before. That's the healthiest kind of comparison. You versus your past self.
Yeah, that one actually feels motivating. It makes me want to keep going instead of giving up.
Exactly. Because when you notice your own growth, you start to feel proud. Not jealous, not pressured, just quietly proud.
But what if someone feels like they're not growing at all, like they're stuck?
That happens too, and it's okay. Sometimes growth looks like resting, or healing, or just surviving a tough week. You don't always have to be doing to be becoming.
That's beautiful. I never thought of it that way.
It's something I had to learn the hard way. For years, I thought I had to keep achieving things to feel worthy. But now, I measure growth differently, and how patient I am, how kind I am to myself, how peaceful I feel inside.
So, growth isn't just about skills or success. It's about becoming more you.
Yes, it's about becoming more authentic, more in tune with your values, your pace, your truth.
That feels freeing. When you think that way, you stop needing to prove anything to anyone.
Exactly. When you focus on your own growth, you stop competing and start living. You stop rushing to catch up and start appreciating where you are.
That's so powerful. I think sometimes we underestimate how far we've already come just because we're too busy comparing.
Absolutely. That's why I love the habit of reflection. Looking back once in a while and asking yourself, what have I learned? How have I changed?
I like that. Maybe I should start journaling again. just writing small notes about what I'm learning each week.
That's a beautiful idea, Emma. Writing helps you see progress that your eyes might miss. And when you notice your own growth, life feels lighter, more meaningful.
I think you're right. I feel calmer just talking about it.
Me too. It's amazing how peace grows when comparison leaves.
So, if I understand right, the key is stop watching others' gardens and keep watering your own with patience, care, and gratitude.
Perfectly said. And remember, the garden doesn't need to be the biggest or the prettiest. It just needs to be yours. You know, Emma, after everything we've talked about, comparison, growth, our own journeys, I think it all leads to one simple truth. You are enough right now.
That sounds so comforting, Mike. But why is it so hard to believe that?
Because we're trained to believe we have to earn our worth through success, appearance, or approval. But real worth isn't something we earn, it's something we have from the moment we exist.
That's deep. Sometimes I think I'll be enough when I speak perfect English, or when I achieve this goal. But then when I reach it, there's always something else waiting.
Exactly. It never ends. That's the trap. If we always connect our worth to achievement, we'll always be chasing. But when you stop and say, I'm enough right now, you start to breathe again.
Yeah, it's like giving yourself permission to rest, to be human.
Yes, and to see yourself with kind eyes. You don't have to be the best version of yourself all the time. You just have to be here, learning, growing, trying, and that's already enough.
You know, I think people forget that they're doing better than they think. Even small things, getting out of bed on a hard day, showing kindness when they could have been angry, or just trying again after failing, those things matter.
They do. Those small things are the real victories. Sometimes strength looks quiet. It's not loud or shiny. It's gentle, steady, patient.
I love that. So maybe we don't need to compare or compete. We just need to notice the good in ourselves and in our journey.
Exactly. You are already complete, even while you're still growing. You don't have to look like anyone else to have value.
That's such a peaceful thought. I think I needed to hear that today.
Me too, honestly. I think we all do from time to time, because the world tells us we're not enough, but our hearts already know we are. We just need to remember.
Yeah. Remember that we're all walking our own path at our own pace, and that's okay.
Exactly, Emma. And if anyone listening is comparing themselves right now, take a breath. Look around you and notice something you've already done well. You're growing, even if it's quiet. You're enough, even if it doesn't feel like it yet.
That's beautiful, Mike. You always find the words that calm me down.
Thank you, Emma. And thank you, our listener, for sharing this time with us. We hope you walk away today feeling lighter, kinder toward yourself, and maybe just a little more peaceful.
Yeah. Thank you for being here with us. We're really proud of you for learning, for trying, for showing up.
Remember, your journey is your own, and you're doing just fine.
You are enough, right now.
Take care, everyone.
See you next time. Smiling.
Bye-bye. Warm tone.